The president back at the White House today, recovering from coronavirus. What experts say about the road ahead and the new controversy being stirred up on social media. How recent developments will shape the upcoming vice presidential debate, the new precautions being taken. And it's game day, previewing tonight's big playoff game against the Dodgers, and the question every Padres fan is asking: who's taking the mound for the Friars? ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
And welcome on this midday. Great to have you with us as we head into the 11 o'clock hour. I'm Jim Patton, and I am joined remotely by my co-anchor, Virginia Cha, 10 News meteorologist Megan Perry. Great to see you both, and we'll be with you very shortly. This morning, the White House doctor says the president is not reporting any symptoms after a turbulent weekend in the hospital. The update comes after the president was seen walking outside of the White House and removing his mask for a photo op, standing there for minutes before entering a room with staffers. The president claims that he feels well after receiving a number of treatments, some typically reserved for patients in the most serious condition. His doctors say they are optimistic, but that he is not out of the woods yet.
You're not out of it until you've gone several days out and doing well, but he certainly does look very well.
President is also drawing new reaction from one of his latest social media posts. This is what it looks like on Twitter. Facebook has since taken it down. In the post, the president claimed that COVID is less lethal than the flu, even saying sometimes more than 100,000 die from the flu. But according to the CDC, in the last 10 years, the highest estimated death toll from a flu season was 61,000. And over the past 7 months, more than 210,000 Americans have died of COVID. Meanwhile, questions still remain about the scope of the White House outbreak. Several people connected to the president in a recent Rose Garden ceremony have tested positive for coronavirus. But the White House has reportedly turned down an offer from the CDC to help the Oval Office with contact tracing. And meanwhile, this just in, all members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff reportedly quarantining today after a high-ranking Coast Guard official tested positive for coronavirus. The official recently attended Pentagon meetings with the Joint Chiefs, and they're reportedly awaiting test results of their own. Well, the vice presidential debate is going to look a little different tomorrow after the president's diagnosis. Vice President Mike Pence and Kamala Harris will stand more than 12 feet apart with their podiums surrounded by plexiglass. Everyone in the debate hall will be tested and required to wear a mask. And you can watch the debate tomorrow at 6 p.m. right here on ABC 10. It'll be followed by a special edition of ABC 10 News at 8 o'clock. Huge night for Padres fans as their Friars continue to battle in the postseason, taking on the Dodgers in a potential 5-game series. It gets underway tonight in Texas. We're joined by ABC 10 News Sports Director Ben Higgins to talk about the magic sauce here, Ben, that the Padres are going to need. What do you think?
Well, they needed some help in the starting pitching rotation, Jim, and they're getting it today. Some good news within the last hour. The Padres releasing their roster for the division series, and it includes Mike Clevinger, who will get the start in Game 1 tonight at 6:38 against Walker Buehler of the Dodgers. Clevinger had been dealing with an elbow impingement, was not on the roster for the first round, so don't know how effective he's going to be. He's only pitched 1 inning in the last 3 weeks or so, but this is a guy the Padres acquired to make this big start. Now he's going to be on the mound, so that's undoubtedly good news for the Padres and their fans.
How big of a factor is that? I think of the third game in the series when the Padres had, 9 different pitchers take the mound, and they were able to shut out St. Louis. As a fan looking at that, it's like, well, is it one big pitcher or is it the whole bullpen? What are we looking at here?
Well, remember, this series is a best of 5, not a best of 3, so they could potentially need 2 more games to get past the Dodgers. That's going to make it even harder to rely on that bullpen. So the more innings and effective innings you get out of the starting pitchers, the better. Now, they still won't have Dinelson Lamet, who's arguably been their best starter all season long. He's also dealing with what they call some bicep tightness. Didn't pitch against the Cardinals, and he was left off the roster against the LA Dodgers. So they're still a little shorthanded, but any pitching help at this point obviously is good news for the Padres.
In the last series, the national sportscasters kept talking about the Fernando Tatis factor and how they are very excited to see him get more national exposure, that he's not only good for the Padres, he is good for baseball. Talk a little bit about what he means to this team right now.
Well, there's going to be all eyes on him. He didn't have a very good September, probably cost himself the National League MVP award, but he turned around that entire series against the Cardinals with his 3-run home run in Game 2 and went on to carry them into this round. People are going to be watching. He's an emotional, reactive player. The Padres and Dodgers have butted heads earlier this season. Dave Roberts, the Dodgers manager, felt the Padres showed up their pitcher Clayton Kershaw when Trent Grisham hit a home run against him. So that could add to this rivalry. It's the first time the Padres and Dodgers have ever met in the playoffs. In all this time, we've been waiting for this series as fans. See if the Padres can pull off a big upset and move on to the National League Championship Series.
In terms of the confidence factor, the Padres were about as close as you can get to elimination in the last series, and they just came alive and pulled it out. They must feel like, look, it's never give up here.
Yeah, they call that house money a little bit in sports. The Dodgers are the favorites. They had the best record in the regular season. They've won the division 8 straight times, but they haven't been able to get over that hump and win a World Series since 1988. The Padres are the upstarts. They're the up-and-coming team, so they might be playing with a little more, looseness and not quite as much pressure on their shoulders, but we really won't know. Everyone feels that intensity a little bit different in October. Dodgers are a really good team. Padres are a really good team. The national media is keeping their eye on this series as well. Should be a good one from Arlington, Texas.
Yeah, one thing that's guaranteed is the fun factor. This is just great for Padres fans. ABC 10 News Sports Director Ben Higgins, thank you so much for your insights.
Thanks, Jim.
Virginia?
Very exciting. Thank you both. Well, some of the local candidates vying for office this November will speak during a virtual forum today. The North San Diego Business Chamber is hosting incumbent Kristen Gaspar and challenger Tara Lawson-Remmer. They're both running to represent District 3 on the County Board of Supervisors. Amar Kempa-Najjar and Daryl Issa will also speak to voters. They are in that hotly contested race for the 50th Congressional District. That free virtual forum starts at 5 p.m. on the Chamber's website. You can now keep tabs on your election ballot. It's called Where's My Ballot? A company keeps track of the barcodes on the ballots and envelopes. And when those barcodes are scanned, voters are notified via text or email. Now, those alerts provide info on when your ballot has been mailed to you, when it has made it back to the registrar's office, and when the ballot has been counted. The system can even alert you if your ballot has been rejected so you can fix the problem. If you're interested in signing up for this service, just head to our website, 10news.com. And starting today, 36 libraries will provide official drop boxes to accept mail-in ballots ahead of Election Day. An official mail ballot drop box will be placed in front of every library location during drop-off hours, and you can drop ballots off Monday through Fridays from 10:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and on Election Day from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Remember, you have to sign, seal, and date your ballot. Jim?
Well, Virginia, protests today happening at 30 different locations across the state at the same time this morning to raise awareness about rising COVID cases in California's prisons and detention centers. 10 News anchor Mary McKenzie is in San Ysidro, where one of the banners was dropped as a call to action.
Simultaneously at 30 locations all across the state, banners just like this one dropped Tuesday morning to send a signal to Sacramento.
We would like to see the release of all people who are currently detained and in prison.
Pedro Rios is with the American Friends Service Committee, which organized the coordinated protest against the spread of COVID-19 among those in detention centers and prisons.
It's impossible to contain the spread of COVID-19 in a jail, in a prison, in a detention center, precisely because it's a contained place. Essentially becomes like a petri dish.
According to the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, as of this week, there have been a total of 14,863 cases of COVID-19 within the prison population, with 69 people who've died. Nearly 1,600 new cases in the last 14 days. More than 12,000 have recovered. For Rios, it's far too many. And the action they're taking today is an effort to get a message to Governor Newsom, hoping he will take executive action to release all detainees and inmates throughout the state, and also in a broader sense to overhaul the state's legal system entirely.
How do we re-envision the criminal justice system in a way that upholds dignity and doesn't continue to traumatize people who are detained.
In San Ysidro, Mary McKenzie, ABC 10 News.